Hey folks, this is Kozzi recording an internal draft for Pick One Pack One. We're playing our games 4 to ideally 6 with our Stonescar Aggro deck. The one that I recently dropped down on power and then quickly found out the reasons why I was tempted to keep it up, because we had some pretty intensive factional requirements. I definitely want to be going up again to the 9. I don't want to trust being able to get to 3 with just 8 sigils in my deck. Previously I put in the Scavenging Vulture, but I think I've realized that I'm quite low on creatures and I can get into trouble that way. So I need to consider what else I'd rather take out. I think the short list is basically a spell or equipment. I could be tempted to go down on a pump spell. I definitely don't want to be going down on these equipment or burn spells. Or the other thing I could consider is running a 46 card deck. Now I know a lot of people see that as sacrilege. They see that as just discounting one of the basic rules, because for each additional card you do over 45, you're reducing your chance of finding one of your best cards. I have a slightly different position on it, and that comes from my position in Magic, playing a legacy deck known as Knit-Fit, which runs 61 cards out of 60. The rationale, or 61 cards instead of 60 rather, the rationale behind it being is if you add one additional card, you greatly increase your chances of drawing it. In the case of a 60 card deck, it's something like it goes from a 12% chance up to a 20% chance of drawing your one key card, which is great when you're running some kind of toolbox. And the chances that you reduce of drawing each individual card is by the order of 1%. Now, yes, this is a game where 1% really does matter. These are the kind of things that we're working on. But if it's a case of just having that additional sigil so I can play my best cards and reducing the chances of finding them by 1%, I feel as though I'd rather spend the extra chance on being able to afford them when I do draw them versus missing out on drawing them in general. And so for that reason, even though I feel as though a lot of people will definitely, their skin will crawl seeing me do this, I feel as though that's what I want to try to do right now, is have just that extra sigil. And the difference here is I'm doing it with a rationale rather than just because I can't decide what I want to take out. The reality is I don't want to go down on my combat tricks. I feel as though with the build of my deck, I'm priced into needing to have as many creatures as I can. And I feel as though the extra non-creature spells are actually really, really pivotal to this deck. So if it's a choice between a 1% less chance of finding them or actually finding the sigils that I need to play them, with this particular deck, with this particular build, that's a choice that I'm willing to make. Feel free to flame me in the comments if you feel as though my rationale is incorrect. I'm aware that I'm not playing a toolbox here, and so it could be wrong on that basis, but I'm happy to stand by it. I would rather have a fire sigil here to be able to play in. I've only got 2 cards that I can play, and only one of them is a creature, and then I've also got a card that is going to be effectively dead until turn 12 or something like that if I'm looking at a 30% chance of drawing sigils. So I think this is a hand that we throw back. Here we have the opposite problem. We have our 5 sigils but not our shadow. I guess it's just the price you pay. On the bright side, I can play my Char Chain Flail. Jeez, that's a tongue twister. But fortunately, we managed to get away with having a Seek Power. Ideally, I prefer to be finding my Time Sigil, but as we need to be making shadow plays in the next 2 and 3 turns, very simple decision here. It's interesting. I'd like to know what kind of rank system they're doing for these matches, especially as the last 2 players I've played are both master level. I noticed when I was playing... Ooh, okay. We're definitely getting pressured. So my choices here, I can use my Char Chain Flail to remove his Bold Adventurer. It's using one of the best cards in my deck for basically a pickable card, or I can continue to develop knowing that if he has removal, I can bring it back later on if I'm desperate. Or ideally, if he misses on this turn and I draw a sigil, I'll be able to play my fighter. Him giving his Adventurer Predator's Instinct leads to an interesting choice for me. Undoubtedly, he's going to be trying to get value, and this is my opportunity to 2 for 2 here with my Rapid Shot. However, if he happens to have a shock effect, I could be in trouble. If he does have it, I can bring it back with Dark Return though, so I feel as though I'm willing to take this risk. Especially as creatures are so important to me right now. In this instance, I feel as though I need to use the Dark Return to bring back my Ranger. I want to keep developing my board, especially as he did nothing else. And especially as I didn't find another Sigil. And again, the previous situation stays. If I draw a Sigil and I get the Fighter, I can get in with the Ranger. Or if need be, I can use my Flail. Ordinarily, I wouldn't be excited bringing back a 2-drop with the Dark Return, but if this becomes a 5/5, then it seems like a very good deal. I think this is the time that I kill it and get my 5/5 on the table. I now feel as though I'm in a pretty commanding position. I have a choice here of playing my Fighter to be able to get in again with my Ranger. I could be tempted into getting in the Golem, but I think that's next turn. What I'm really doing is just praying to get my Time Sigil. If I can get the Obelisk up here, then I'll be able to have the opportunity to trade my Fighter for his Echoed Sauropod. And he won't be able to touch my Ranger on defense. Sigil is good, brings me closer to my World Pyre Phoenix, although ideally I wouldn't want to be trading both of these for a Twin Brood Sauropod. It shows just how good that card is. If I play my Obsidian Golem, I can double block 1, which will give me the equipment to make it so that he can't block my Ranger. I think that's the way I need to play this. I don't want to be trading off, because then if I double block, I've got nothing valuable. Okay, another Echo card. I really hope you haven't been allowed to pick a whole bunch of Twin Broods. So I think he knows the plan that I'm trying to do, which is fair. It's not exactly transparent. He quite rightly chooses not to attack into it. He hasn't drawn his second Fire Sigil. However, him playing Ancient Law and getting creatures that are potentially buffed up does keep me very nervous. I think my plan right now is just to continue to build up my board. I need to keep this, so I'm not interested in trading for half a card. And if I do manage to get the land and cast my World Pyre Phoenix, that's going to... Ooh, that's really not cool. It gives me the opportunity to force the issue a little bit more. Alternatively, I'm waiting to try and find one of my combat tricks. If I can find a trick or two, it opens up a lot of attack options for me. That's a great reward for a land. Yeah, I don't think that's the best attack in the world. So if I equip my armor on either of my 5-drops, it basically allows me to block the Rhynarch. But I'll be able to do that anyway by double blocking it as the same 2-for-1. I feel as though what I'd rather do is keep this so that when I can cast my Phoenix, I have a much more threatening creature that I can attack with in the air. What am I talking about double blocking here? I could double block with my 5s. Yeah, I think that's where I want to sit right now. I am worried about giving him too much time. I think his is the deck with inevitability. Ooh, that is painful. Yeah, I'm in a bad spot right now. I'm in a very bad spot. If I take 10, then he's beginning to be able to wrap around my board. It gives me the opportunity to put the equipment on my Thorn Beast, but I'll still be chump blocking anyway. So I feel as though right now I need to trade and hope that my Obelisk can give me some value, or I can drop the World Pyre Phoenix. The Phoenix forces me into a double block. He'll be able to trample over. If I cast Armor, I have a 7/7. I'll be taking 7 chump block out here. If he has removal, I'm in trouble. I think that's what I have to do right now. It's amazing how effectively that Twin Brood allowed him to stabilize. And I'm very worried now that he's got his green sigil. Perhaps half the stuff in his hand he wasn't able to play because he was missing colors. Yeah, I'm in real trouble with my hand here. If he attacks in, I'm on 4. It means any future... I get that you're feeling impatient, man, but I'm trying to think through this. If he has some kind of pump spell, I'm in trouble. But the reality is I'm in trouble, full stop. Alrighty. Twin Brood Sauropod is a very, very, very good card. And yeah, I feel as though I played it correctly to give myself the biggest ranger, but I think his draws worked a lot better, and I got in trouble with having just the high end of my deck. That's one of those videos that I'll be very interested to watch through again, see if I missed something obvious. I definitely got into trouble where I couldn't cast 2 spells a turn. So now we're on a lose and out, which I feel as though would be rough on a deck like this. I feel as though it's much better than that. This is a hand that I feel as though I can definitely keep. I'll be playing out. The minute I get a sigil or 2, these will be turned on. And I've got the best 1-drop in my deck. Yeah, that's 3 master level players in a row. Perhaps it is that they're still choosing to rank us against each other. If they're available, there might be some aspect of the algorithm to try and make sure. That you don't get some grievous mispairings. So my choice is either Obsidian Golem or Scavenging Vulture. It looks like he's on a heavy removal Feln control deck, or likely. And if that's the case, I'd rather be getting more value for my creature dying. We've drawn 2 cards so far without a sigil, so statistically we might be looking at one soon. It's the wrong identity for me to be able to get my flails online. So my options are to sit back and 2-for-1 myself, except the fact that he's going to be doing 3 damage. I could represent the chance of doing something aggressive with rapid shot should he choose to block. Considering I'm not going to be blocking anyway, he might as well get in. This destroyer is going to represent a problem for me. Given this, I feel as though I want to finish him off now. There's no point in spending my 1 to get extra value. Unfortunately, he's low on power, so I don't need to worry about him having a lightning strike, which could have made my life a lot more uncomfortable. We'll see if he lets me rapid shot him. And now I've got the opposite of the last game. Last game I was hoping for a pump spell at some stage to help me get in whilst he was stabilizing. In this instance I've got nothing but. Welcome to the joyful world of collectible games. So I can either rampage and use my mana more efficiently, or I can choose to use my Char Chain Flail and not attack. If I attack and he doesn't block, then I get the 2 damage in and I can use the Char Chain Flail. Or if I attack and I use the Pump Spell, then we're at a status quo position for next turn. Because having this only do 3 is not enough. So I'm basically looking between cheating in 2 damage or waiting a turn. And I think in that scenario, I'm happy to take my odds. Yeah, I thought that was likely. We'll get rid of the deadly creature. So right now he is winning the race, and I'm in a very, very bad position because my creature doesn't block effectively, and I'll be 2-for-1ing myself, and if I don't draw a creature soon, there'll be nothing I can do about this 6-turn clock. Yep, you got it. Yes, we're in a very, very tight spot. Unfortunately, these combat tricks don't do much for me at all when I'm on defense, especially if he'll be able to give this guy unblockable. In this scenario, I need to keep him alive. Which is definitely not a good position to be in. But fortunately, I've staved him off from attacking for 1 turn. We just need to draw a creature soon. I think right now I'm drawing to a World Pyre Phoenix or Smuggler's Stash, which will allow me to get back my flail for 1. Other than that, we're pretty much drawing dead. Or a Flame Blast, that works too. I would have preferred to be able to use my Flame Blast on one of his more menacing threats. What I need to think through is if I'm to attack, it'll allow him to get in 3 damage, which I really can't afford. So whilst this is a feel bad, I feel as though I just need to stop his clock and hope that I can continue to draw out of this. Yeah, I know it's not optimal, man. So I have a choice. I can either let it go through and worry about that clock, and I know I don't have that much more removal left, or I can block with my golem and expose myself to removal and still be hoping that I draw a creature. I can either decide to wait a little bit, but if he has a rapid shot or something like that, then I'm in real trouble. I think I've got to do what I've got to do. Which I realise is probably not the most insightful commentary in the world. I need to take 3 damage now when he double attacks. What could that be? That could be the Hurler with... Yep. And now it's draw a creature or bust. Alright, so we're not quite bust. I definitely don't want to sacrifice my unit. Wait a second. So if I block there, he's going to be able to use his snowball. At least I get it out of his hand. If I block there, they'll just straight up trade. I need to accept the fact that I don't have a lot of options and just continue to hope that I can draw out of this. I think the best card in my deck for me right now is Smuggler's Stash. That's adequate. That's worrying. And that's useless. This is exactly what I was concerned about. I don't feel as though it's right to slag it off just because I saw it here, but yeah. It's a total dead card for me. It's as bad as drawing a sigil. And now I have 1 draw step to draw out of this. I think I can exclusively... No, I still have my Phoenix as well as the Smuggler's Stash. And that doesn't do it for me. So that went rough. That went very, very rough indeed. I think this is better than a 2-3 deck. I really do. That's nice because it'll allow me to afford to do another draft quickly and make up for this. Whoops, I didn't mean to go in there. So let's go back home. Let's open up our pack. One lonely pack. And take another quick look at that deck that was. Oh, we can't. Okay. Yeah, I feel as though that was a better deck than what turned out. I really, really do. I feel as though if I'd drawn a couple more aggressive hands, once we had the inertia up, like our first loss was due to Flood. Our second loss was basically against a very, very well-tuned time-based deck that curved up effectively. And we didn't draw the right half of our deck at the right time. And then our third one there, we were drawing life. I feel as though it was a game. And I don't feel as though I made any egregious errors, although I want to look back and find out otherwise. Yeah, I'll be curious to hear if you guys have any thoughts. I really do think it was better than what that performed, although that might end up being the mantra of a lot of this video series. Anyway, that was my Stonescar aggro deck. Slightly underwhelming. We'll see where we go next time. I'm Kozzi, drafting for Pick One Pack One. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.